I'm really excited to be today with Teaira. She is a spiritual Valkyrie. Yes, you heard that right. She helps coaches, healers, entrepreneurs to optimize their life through numerology and dreams. I met Teaira a year ago. We did some exchanges of our skills together. She taught me so many things about dreams, numerology, spirituality. She loves to call herself she's a jack of all trades. So she's a spiritual mentor, and I wanted to bring her today with us to talk a little bit based on the numerology theme of how to integrate 2022, what energies were based on numerology, and what is the energy for 2023, and how what to expect. Because last year I heard a live she made for 2022, and it changed my life. Like, it helped me have a more understanding, a deeper understanding about 2022, what to expect for the year, from the year, how to navigate it better, how to add the value of the energy to my business. And that's why I wanted this year to bring her in my podcast so she can share her gifts with you, and her spiritual skills, and also her intuitive messages about 2023. So welcome, Teaira. How are you?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm
Thank you
doing
for being
well.
here. I love seeing your smile and your energy, and I'm sure that our listeners and the ones who are watching us will benefit a lot from our talk today. And I would really love to start a little bit with taking a deep breath in and closing our eyes when we exhale, and just center ourselves a little bit in the moment, into this episode, wherever you are. If you're standing on a sofa, on a chair, on a bed, if you're walking, if you're on the metro, going home from your job, if you're taking a break from your business, wherever you are, just center yourself in the moment with us. And with each new breath you're taking, open your mind to receive more knowledge. Open your heart to receive more love, more support, more care. And open your soul to receive more insight, especially about the year that's coming. And you can set up an intention for this podcast or for the year ahead, what you want to create this year, what you want to feel. And you can choose a word that describes your year. For me, it's intentionality. I want to be intentional with what I feel, what I think, what experiences I want to live, how I want my business to feel like, what I want to create in my podcast. So take a moment here and choose a word, choose an intention, and take a deep breath in. And when you exhale, release the word to the universe, and surrender to the divine plan. And you can slowly open your eyes and be here with us in the present moment so we can start the exciting talk we are about to have. So, Teaira, tell us a little bit about you. How did you got into numerology and dreams, and how did you become this spiritual mentor that has so much knowledge to share with the world?
Yeah, well, for me, and I can go in my story, and it can take days, it can take minutes.
Yes. Sorry, Tiara. I think I accidentally muted you. Up. Can you unmute you? Unmute. Up. I think we're both trying to unmute you. Okay. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
So for me, my journey started pretty much when I was a child. I was really always been a spiritual person. And then I was also a very active dreamer constantly. So I had prophetic dreams. I had dreams that like would tell me about a lot of different things that didn't come true already or that I wasn't supposed to quote know as a child. But one thing about me was that because I was such a active dreamer, one thing my mom, she helped with me when it came to my dreams because her grandmother was into dreams as well too. So she had like a dream dictionary, and like anytime I had a dream, I would go to my mom and she'd be like, "Okay, well let's figure out what it means," you know. And it's crazy because nowadays, like it's kind of reversed, where she has a dream now and she's coming to me asking about the interpretation of her dreams. And that was something that really stuck with me throughout my childhood and adulthood. So I really got my start in really diving into spiritual work when I was more so in college. And I'm in Ohio, in the U.S. So I've traveled to plenty of different countries and did a lot of different work, doing the numerology, doing the dreams, doing my spiritual work with different clients and different retreats, and participating in webinars and sessions and metaphysical events. So I've done a lot of that work everywhere, but a lot of my numerology was something that I learned was passed down to me from my great grandmother. She was a natural numerologist. She had a book of numbers. Nobody understood why she had those numbers everywhere. She was a very number based person. And it wasn't until, and she passed when I was about 5. Yeah, I was 5 years old. And she was also the first like angel that I recall seeing, you know. And so so it did give me my start on really tapping into the spirituality part of things. But my connection with my great grandmother was what gave me the info that numerology was passed down to me. I would go to different readers and different healers, and they always saw the numbers there. And I'm somebody who did not like numbers. I don't like math. I don't like calculating things. I don't like doing any of that stuff, but I didn't know that I actually had a gift in it until I started diving into it more. So that's kind of how it started, but that's like where the numerology back in 2016 is when I really started getting into numerology, learning about it. And then it actually became like a gift that started coming out to people a lot more. And it was also something that people really weren't talking too much about. Like a lot of people know about astrology and zodiac signs and like a lot of mainstream spirituality tools, but some people didn't know much about numerology. So that was something that I actually started to hone in on, and connecting it with our dreams and connecting it with our spiritual well-being, and being able to use that to pivot us in the direction that we want to go in every day. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's kind of how it started.
Mm-hmm. I know it's not easy to um, compress our life story in a few minutes, but I love how you described yours, and I love that you have these roots into spirituality coming from your grandmothers. And it's not like, you took a course online on teachable for 1 week and you become this numerologist, or you have deep knowledge and you started experimenting with things and working with numbers since you were little, so you have years of experience on that. And also what you say is is really accurate. So I love that. And um last year, as we talked, we had a pretty intense year. You were talking in the live you did last year about um, experiencing health challenges, about uh, being a year of partnership, as I remember, themes of not doing it alone, but doing it with others. So, from your point of view, looking back to 2022, what was like some biggest theme that we integrated as a collective consciousness?
Yes, that live last year about 2022 is ironically something that we, Oak and I, were talking about for for years to come, and it kind of came into fruition. And so some of the themes that showed up was like the health, the aspect of our health, and actually paying attention to ourselves. We were in a universal 6 year, and for those who don't know anything about numerology, like when we're looking at the new numbers, these numbers influence the energy that we're going into. We all go through 9 year epicycles, and as a universe, we look at that year and see what the major themes are and the major energy that we need to like pay attention to in order to work with the energy versus working against the energy. So when I say it's a universal 6 year in 2022, that means we added up the digits in 2022. So 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. And so when we look at these themes, we pay attention to what the energy of each number has, and what the energy it holds for all of us, and when we and how we adapt to it, how we adjust to it in that sense. So a few of the themes that we did see last year was, needing to balance ourselves out, where you're balancing your work, you're balancing your home life, you're looking at your relationships. You may have kind of found new relationships, or you may have broken away from some relationships in your life that actually wasn't contributing to the overall balance that you needed. um our health is extremely important in the universal 6 year, because we need to pay attention to some of those things. And because we were in 2022, you could have seen some of the same themes in our health show up back in 2020, because we were in the same, you get the 2022 plus 2 is 4, and now we're in 2022, 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. So there's like a lot of 2 energy, which made a lot of people sensitive to the environments around them. And it really starts to show how we need to progress when we pay attention to those energies. So
Mm.
when we were in 2022, it may have been very difficult for a lot of people, because sixth energy is all about your balance, the balance of your life, home life, the balance of your work life, the balance of your relationships, the balance of what your needs are, and how you love yourself, how you project love to other people. Like, what is it triggering in you? Do you feel like, are you focusing on the superficial things in life, or are you focusing on how you're bringing creativity and the ability to create more so in your life in that sense? So a lot of people could have been moving to different homes, or have been thinking about investing in a new home. It was a lot of different things that were showing up, and in our friendships, in our family relationships, and it's extremely important to pay attention to those things, because every year we focus on bringing on that energy and how we integrate it with the next year's energy. So yeah, that kind of brings into like what 2023 could look like for you, but we step into a new energy every single year.
Mm. And I remember you told me last year that you can feel this energy starting with November, like it's you can feel the new vibe, let's say, the beginning of the year for the next year. So, for example, last year in 2021, in November, I started experiencing health problems, and I was manifesting in my body all sorts of wounds and traumas from the past. And I felt the energy of 2022 coming from 2021 at the end. And you told me, like the 2022 will be the health, you will be focused on health. And uh, when I knew that, I knew what to expect, and I knew to brace myself and to be optimistic, because everything will go okay. It's just that we are trying to gain balance as a collective consciousness, because what's I feel it's a mix between, let's say, faith or collective energies and your personal destiny or your personal experience. We are the creator of our reality, so we choose. We have a collective team, but we choose how we navigate that. So for me, I had so many health problems in 2022 that I learned how to listen to my body more. I learned how to connect to my body. I learned how to take more breaks, to not work so much, to sleep better, to go to the gym every morning. So I improved my lifestyle to not have so much health problems. So every team brings with them an evolution if you choose to learn the lesson. If you're like, oh, I'm ill, so it doesn't matter if I take care of my body or not, then you will not learn the lesson and you will regress, let's say. So in order to progress, we need to understand what the lessons are and how we can navigate them. So that's why I think it's so important to know the collective theme, so we can know how to navigate this year. That doesn't mean that we need to auto suggest or influence our minds that, oh my god, it's a healthy year, that means that I will have health problems. No, it's we are the creators of our reality. We choose how we want to shift that theme for ourselves. And I'm really curious. What are the themes for 2023? Because we were talking for 2 hours before the podcast, and I was like, "Oh my god, I cannot wait to have the podcast so I can know what the seven energy is." Because plus two plus three is seven energy this year, right?
Yes, yes, yes. So let's get into it a little bit. So it's interesting that you actually said the lessons. Because seven energy is all about teaching and learning. It's all about introspection, reflection, going inwards and starting to look at the lessons that you've learned in the past 7 years, and really start paying attention to how we're going to integrate that in our lives and move forward into the next energy. When we're looking at a 9 year cycle, there's 2 years out of the 9 year cycle that are considered consolidation years or rest years. And those years will be the year 4 and the year 7. So
Wow.
we are now in 2023, which is a universally 7 year. And that is actually calling a lot of us to rest, to and I always say, think of the 4 R's, which is reveal, reevaluate, reflect, and rejuvenate. And
Beautiful.
those are the 4 R's that I would personally, and these are things that just come up to me as far as also intuitive messages that I know also relate to the 7 year. But these are the four things that I would pay attention to, because when you talk about themes that are happening in the year, I would say 7 is going to reveal a lot of truths that we may not have thought of, or we may, when we think of how our structures are, how our society runs, how everything, like how everything is manageable, there are going to be some things that start revealing itself to show that it's not, or that it's not what we thought it was. It's not the truth that we identified with. And at the same time, we have to actually reflect on those revelations of like different truths that come up. 7 is a spiritual number, and it's also a very physical number as well too. So when we think of the 7 deadly sins, the 7 wonders of the world, the 7 continents, the 7 seas, like there's the 7 is so spiritual, and it's about connection as well too. But we have to do that internally versus externally. So when we look at the global theme of things, there's going to be a lot of things coming to the surface, a lot of things that are going to find, like we're going to find ourselves in spaces where we have nowhere else to look but inside of ourselves. And as a society, if we do not do that, we will suffer the repercussions of not going inwards. Um, and with that being said, and I don't like to spark fear in people. It's not necessarily about fear, because the seven can be such a impactful year. So when you go down into the it's like a house. If you are in a house and you have to like really do some digging and deep introspection, you go down to the basement. That's where the base of everything is. That's where you're going to find your the answers to questions that have not surfaced quite yet. And you'll find yourself in situations where you may feel like you want to be by yourself. There may be a space where you have to take time away from other people in order to be in front of other people again. And you'll see like that energy started showing up a little bit in November of 2022. So usually the energy of the next year shows up in starting in November, because now
Mhm.
we're switching over to the new year. That energy is coming in strong. And we actually started this year with a Mercury retrograde. I am not an astrologist or astrologer, but when we pay attention to Mercury, we pay attention to our way of communicating, our way of um transportation, and Mercury governs our way of communicating and the way we do things, contracts, all of that stuff. So it's actually providing us an opportunity to look at ourselves internally before we make external decisions. You will see in this year there won't be too much external changes, and the ones that we are seeing are just things that have been starting to surface, that have already been in the works. But the external change will more so come in the next year. It's just, I would be very mindful of looking at the overall themes of things, and looking at, you know global crisis, global, uh natural disasters. These are all things that make us start focusing on the work that we've been doing in the past 7 years, whether it's been good work or not so good work. So it's going to make us want to reflect, reevaluate, and rejuvenate ourselves and take rest, because we need that energy to, as a whole, as a universe, as a conscious collective, to go within, introspect, focus, and then kind of bring it back out in the next year, if that makes sense.
Mm.
With seven being a teaching and learning number, a lot of people may feel really called to start looking into spirituality, maybe called to getting like self-help books, meditation books, seeking out workshops that are going to help them, kind of tap into their gifts more, or themselves, or their spiritual selves more. And as a collective, with healers and people, who are doing this work, it actually can be very beneficial for us to be together in a collective manner. Now, I will also say that there's something there, and as an intuitive message, but there's something there when it comes to what comes to social media. Like, we really need to pay attention to how often we are like attached to our phones, attached to the validation of other
Mm.
people through social media. You may see a few people get off of social media, or you may see that there's going to be companies such as, like, Facebook, Meta, Instagram, all of these different companies that are changing the way we function in social media. And it's going to cause a lot of us to really take a look back and be like, how can I reach the masses in a way that is not social media driven?
Wow.
So yeah, it's a lot of things that can come up. I would pay attention to, and some of that stuff has already started showing up. I know YouTube has changed a clause or something where it's affected a lot of people on YouTube, on the platform. And then there's like people who, like, I know in the US I saw that they're trying to create a bill that bans TikTok, or like, there's things that are going to be coming up, but we need to pay attention to those themes, and focus a little bit on how we are taking that in, and how are we like resting and taking care of ourselves, and like expanding our mind on a spiritual level so that we can prepare ourselves for the energy that may be coming in for 2024.
Oh my God. It's already what I've been experiencing for the last month. So I took some notes because I didn't want to forget. So,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, regarding the teacher, right? I want to understand a little bit more this theme. So, the teacher is, let's say, first 6 years you looked in the outside world, because you said that seven is more looking in the outside world and starting teaching from from the lessons you learn. So it's like you were the student, you looked in the outside world. Even with our businesses, let's say, we were in the building stages, we worked on them, we invested in mentors, we experimented a lot, and then the seven is the next level energy, that is the teacher, that is the one that teaches in the outside the lessons that he or she integrated. Like the business go to the next level, you scale your business, or you grow your business even more, because you are now the expert, you're not the student that teaches that learns from others, you're the one that teaches others from your experience. Is this like similar with what you shared? Is like the same? This is what I'm feeling is like for my business this year, is like I'm going into mastership, I'm going into expert level. Is the same energy?
Yes, yes, yes. So like seven not only is it teaching and learning, but it is about personal growth, and it's about like lessons, and really trying to dive in and see what the lesson is. Now the lesson around the teacher part though is that, let's just put it in this way, in the sense, when the student is ready, the master will appear, or the teacher will appear. And then also, like, when you're an expert, or when you're the teacher, you're always forever going to be a student. So you're going to consistently start progressing in your own learning and your own
Mm.
way of like expanding on your knowledge in that sense. So even if people were thinking about going back to school, or thinking about the teaching aspect, or wanting to start teaching based off of their personal experience, this energy is actually very supportive of that. um I would say, like, when it comes to that, like, we really want to make sure that we are very intentional with what we're doing. Because if we're not intentional, and we're just doing it just to do it, that's why this stuff with social media is coming up really big. Like, we don't need to just be posting just to post. We don't need to be just entertaining just to entertain. It's more intention behind what you're doing. And if you find yourself in a space where you're looking internally and taking what you have internally and sharing it with the world because of your own personal experience and your own personal growth, then that actually is what helps other people in their healing journey, and their coaching journey, and their business journey. And so that is where the intention is. You want to reach the people that you are intentionally sending that energy out to, and who's going to actually receive it. So yeah.
Wow. Wow, this is so beautiful. I love this so much. It's exactly what I've been feeling into, and it's more, it confirms me that what I'm going through individually, it's what the collective is going through as well. And it's the same themes that I've been tuning into in the last 2 months, because I worked, as I we talked earlier before the podcast. Last year I was more into business and money mindset and more practical thing, the results based business. I would take you from A to B, you'd see the results materialized in your physical reality. But I feel like I'm so much more than that. I'm also the energetics behind that. I am the emotion. I am the teacher that loves to not only teach things but helps others feel into my inner world and connect with others. And I felt that Instagram is not enough for me anymore, like I'm just writing a post and I'm writing 250 characters and I put a photo with me, and then I want to share my message deeper than a photo with some words. I want to reach deeper the people that I'm talking to and connecting with. So, as my intentions for this year is also creating retreats, creating in-person events, and going to, events here in Bucharest, and knowing other people and creating a community in person here in my own city. And it's exactly as you said, like, more that I'm just tuning into my phone and checking with my clients and do my Zoom sessions and posting on Instagram and waiting for the likes and comments, is more of the how can I connect deeper with the people that I'm sending the message. It's not only about I need to post today, but what can I share today from my heart that I can change somebody's life, or can I touch somebody else's experience. And it's like so next level than just, creating content, having a schedule 9 to 5, like the old paradigm business. It's a new paradigm of business that we are co-creating together as a collective this year. And I love, because it was so boring to be like, post this every day, and you need to teach this, and you need to be that academic professor that just goes on Instagram and teaches things and doesn't show from their personal experience, and that he's a human or she's a human and she is still imperfect. And I love this theme. It's like so positive themes already.
Yeah.
And also about the spirituality, you said that more people are drove to spirituality, and that we are feeling this collective theme. And the same with my podcast. This is the first episode from the new podcast that it's more on spirituality. Last year it was more on the money mindset, but I wanted to share, yeah, about money, about abundance, but also about healing, about energetics, about spirituality. So it's exactly the theme that you're sharing with me. I created the podcast on the feeling unconsciously, because I didn't know about this theme until now. This is the first time I'm hearing about this. So I created this podcast feeling on this energetic themes for 2023. I love that. And also, you said about intentional, which is my word. I said in the beginning of my podcast that the word for 2023 is being intentional. And I felt that, we are the creator of our reality, and we get to master a little bit more of reality if we're intentional. Even when we wake up in the morning and we're like, what do I want to create today? Or what do I want to feel? Or what word can I choose for today? And it feels like your whole experience is focused more on the word that you're setting out for that day. Then intentionality is based on the new project that I'm creating at the end of January, which is was the name was channeled to me. I don't love this word so much, but it was I was meditating and I received like the conscious creator. You should create something like that's called conscious creator, and I feel it's the on the energy of this new year as well. So I will have a challenge that's called conscious creator, and it will be 21 days of morning practices to help you create a more conscious year ahead, and to navigate these themes in a way that feels more aligned for you. And if we were to think about 2023 and the number 7, what are, let's say, some challenges that we can have with these energies, and what's the opposite of challenges? What this year can bring us, like uplifting energies, or you know what I'm saying, like the dark and the light of the number 7.
Yeah, and it's very um important to look at the dark and the light. Every number, every year energy has positives and challenges. I'm not even going to
Mm-hmm.
say negatives. I'll say challenges because
Mm-hmm.
um from my personal experience, the 7 year has been of like it's been a challenging year personally for me. So everybody, we have our global universal energies, which is like 2022, 2023. That's the universal years. But everybody goes through their own personal 9 year cycles. And when you're really trying to understand themes of what can come up, you have to pay attention to the universe, which is a more expansive view of things, and then you have to pay attention to your personal. And
Mm.
so from my personal experience, when I have experienced a personal year 7, it has been very, very difficult because I didn't truly understand the energy of it until I had to experience it myself. And that in itself is a part of the 7. So the 7 is always about your personal experience, your personal growth, but it's about how deep you can go. So some of the things that you will find in a positive light is that you will be called to being more spiritual. You will be called to having a more of a practice for yourself, such as, and I promise you, like, it's something that is necessary for you to do. But like the practices with, your conscious creator, like that project in itself aligns with having a practice that is going to help you, build, your connection with self, your connection with your intention in the universe.
Mm.
And so like that's a positive thing that comes out of the themes of this year, is like seeing a collective of people actually going inward to do work.
Yeah.
And that I will say is very important, because we have to have done this work in order for us to really take advantage of the years to come. Then I would say another positive thing with the 7 energy is that you I feel like although it's like a very introspection year and we're like in ourselves a lot more, I do feel like with that same energy we can actually come in together as a collective and do that work as well too. So, and that's the one thing
Mm.
about the universal year, it being a universal year, everybody's experiencing their own type of energy that kind of goes with the 7 energy. um so being more spiritual, being more reflective on our own like struggles and our own challenges, that is a positive in my mind, just because we are looking past superficiality and materialism. We're taking our time. It is not something to rush through. It's not something that you can just hurry up and get over. It's something that you take your time with. And for a society that kind of goes, updates everything, technology updates, humans update, like art updates, like there's so many different updates. And so we actually need to take some time to look back and be like, okay, let's scale back a little bit, reflect on what we've already been doing, and then let's start making plans for the next time, like the next energy where it supports it a little bit more. So in the positive, if we're doing that, then it really will give us the leg up coming up. The challenge with that is it's not easy. It is very difficult to do that. And on a, like I said, on a global universal scale, I'm looking at the 7 energy as like, yeah, we're about to cut out the superficial stuff. The BS is literally getting sliced and cut out of our lives so that we can pay attention to things. We're going to have to be into nature a lot more. We're going to have to be spending time with, Mother Nature in general, but it is not an easy process to go through. And so a lot of what we're trying to do in our lives, even this is like a lot of times people will find themselves being a little stubborn in this sense as well too, because they don't want to change what they've already got going for themselves. They don't want to change the energy, the momentum. And so when you find yourself in a space where you're figuring out like, oh, this works for me on social media, so I'm gonna keep doing that, but the energy of the universe is not supporting it, then there's frustration that comes there. There's frustration that, shows up when we are not with the same friends that we have, or we've maybe lost some family members, or we don't have the same relationships. All the things that were showing up in the 6 because it was such a high energy year, we have to integrate into a 7 energy, which is all about taking rest and falling back and like literally taking it slow and slowing down to speed up. And that is a very hard energy to integrate once you come into the year and you're ready for that momentum. You want to keep things going. You want to be like, oh my God, it's a new year, new me. And then
Mm.
it's like, wait a second.
Slow down.
Wait a second. I need to go back and look at myself for a second. Like I thought I was doing something. I have to go back and look at myself now. That's a very challenging place to be in. And so like I said, it is a global thing, and so I will say that there could be a lot of different natural disasters. And I look at the same way I'm telling you, we need to cut out superficial BS. You know, nature is thinking the same thing. So like a lot of times when you see hurricanes, when you see like tornadoes or earthquakes, like that is nature's way of clearing out a lot of the stuff that doesn't matter anymore. And so if we're not paying attention to our lifestyle changes and how we want to integrate that with our lives in the way that's the healthiest, the way that we can collectively come together and heal as a whole, then you will start seeing some of this stuff start to happen. And like I said, with the secrets, the truths that are coming out, like the wisdom that we gain from those truths, that's a positive. However, the challenge is that it may shake up our foundation. It may shake up our root, our core of what we thought we knew in order to have them to learn something else and something different than what we were taught. And that in itself is what can become very hard for a lot of people in this energy. So yeah, I think
I
that's
feel like this podcast will be like the same with the live. I listened to the live last year with 2022 energy. I thought I understand it consciously, but then throughout the year, I was like, okay, this is what you're talking about, like a deeper level of understanding because you are learning through your experiences. You are learning as you go through the year and you experience different situation and context, you realize, okay, this is what it means to that the truth is revealing and that the foundation is breaking. Because how do you get from the student to the teacher? You're like, understanding all the basic knowledge you received and then creating your own expertise, creating your own, like, how do you get an expert? You get an expert, you become an expert when you create your own methodology. Let's say as a coach, you learn hypnotherapy. I learned hypnotherapy, embodiment, and human design, and I created my own method, which is embodied hypnosis, which takes all of these aspects and it goes deeper in your subconscious mind. So it's like, yeah, but that meant that everything I knew had to crumble, and it seemed like I didn't know anything, and I become like confused with everything, and I need to start it from scratch, and it was a lot of healing I need to do and inner work. But I got to this point of a higher level of knowledge or understanding life or creating my own model of reality. So this is what you're like uh, referring to when you're saying that our foundation breaks. Basically, we're getting to a higher level of knowledge, but everything we thought we knew consciously basically is more about getting to the subconscious, right? This year.
mm-hmm.
Wow, that
Yeah.
it's my year. It means I love the subconscious,
Right.
right?
Right. And it's really, another component of the seven energy is that I want to share is that it's a number of sacrifice and loss. So a lot of times, like, you can even see it in generations of people, like people who were born in the 70s, or where everybody who were born in the 70s has a 7 in their birthday.
Mm.
Like, you see that this generation of people have experienced a level of sacrifice and loss that another generation who doesn't have as many sevens will probably never have experience in. And so as that generation grows older, they have a lot of wisdom. They become teachers, they help out in different areas, but sacrifice and loss is more in the areas of like love, money, or relationships. And or like family per se, family, love, and money.
Mm.
And it can be in all of those areas. It can be in one of those areas,
Mm.
but like when I look at a global overall universal energy of the seven, and it still has that capacity of sacrifice and loss, but we have to pay attention to the lessons that we get from the sacrifice and loss that occurs throughout the year. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it is going to be one of those situations where you may look back on this podcast and be like, I know exactly what she was talking about, because it showed up in different themes. And it's not, and like, I do these things and I'm not trying to have it so where everybody's like super fully aware of exactly what to do, how to do it, because the things are going to show up differently for every single person. But
Of
on a
course.
global scale, like, these are things that we can look out for. These are things that we can know in our energy. So if we know that social media is a thing that may show up and it may cause a little rumbling in our everyday lives, then we need to start adjusting our energy to work with that versus against
Mm-hmm.
it, you know? So yeah, it's extremely important to pay attention to those themes and seeing what's going on. But just in January alone, there's been already a lot of stuff happening. And like, I'm looking at even just December, where, Prince Harry and Meghan came out with their documentary around
Mm-hmm.
like the truth behind things. They want to tell things from their point of view. Like, there's so many different like things being revealed in the world where we have to focus like, oh, okay, this is making a little bit more sense, or this
Mm-hmm.
makes more sense to me. So you may find a wave of people who are now starting to go their own direction. They're not really trying to go with the crowd. They're trying to
Mm-hmm.
go and learn on their own, or maybe travel for a particular retreat, or, just paying attention to those different things in our lives so that we can fully embrace it and take it in and align ourselves with, what spirit, source, God, universe wants us to do.
Woohoo! Yes, girl. Praise. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love that. Yeah, it's a personal journey. You have these themes, but you'll get to them in your own personal way. And it's like, as I said, don't out self like suggest yourself that it should happen or you should sacrifice some things or things like that. Just be aware. That's it's like your I used to be obsessed with watching tarot readings on YouTube. Like I would watch one every day, but I would get so obsessed with wanting to know the future and wanting to know all the steps, and I would get into this point of over, self fulfilling all these prophecies. So I needed to take a step back and okay, like those are just general readings. It doesn't mean like, and I would watch a reading and it would say like you'll break up with your partner and all these things, and I was like, oh my god, I'm going to break up with my partner today, and I would get into a fight with my partner. And it's the same whenever you're like hearing to a 2023 forecast, or you watch a tarot reading, or you're receiving a psychic channeling or what, take it through your own filter and allow it to come into your body, into your subconscious mind, whatever knowledge it can use you can use to grow, to evolve, and not to self-sabotage yourself or to block yourself from having the best year that you want to create. That was the role of this podcast, is to give you some knowledge and awareness of what you can experience in 2023 so you can know how to prepare for this year. So as you could see and listen from, Teaira is amazing. You'll come back to us on Instagram and you'll say to us like, yeah, you were right, it's exactly as it was. And as she was talking about, about not only having like a numerology for years, we also have a year, like a personal number that we are experiencing. And she did like my own numerology, she did my numerology for my business, she did my numerology for my relationship. Like she can read the energetics for every aspect of your life, and this can help immensely. Like I was going through with my partner through some lessons, and reading our both numbers and reading our dynamic really helped me to understand deeper than our fight over power, and like the egoistic challenges that we were going through. And with my business, she helped me to choose the best prices, because you can learn what numbers are best for your offers. And your business name has a number, and that number can attract a certain energy. For example, before I was called subconscious healing, and that was the energy of the number 9. And the number 9 is the humanitarian that gives things for free and wants to change the world. And no wonder why in the first year of my business I didn't make any money, because I was trying to save everybody by giving free sessions and free resources and all the stuff. And then I changed my name. She advised me to change my name to Andrea Mondan, which is the number, I think I remember, 1, which is the leader, the creator, and everything shifted. I become more embodied as a healer. All my energy shifted. I started receiving more clients. People were seeing me as an expert. So these subtle things that you wouldn't guess that it impacts your business, but it impacts your business. Even the date when you create your business, sorry for the noise, it impacts the energy of your business, and how much abundance you attract, how much money you make, and everything. So that's why, if you want to make an investment for this year, I would highly recommend you send a message to Teaira. I'm going to leave her links in the description of the podcast and on the YouTube video. And it's the best investment that you can do in the energetic of your business, in the energetics of your relationship, of your year, to read what is the number that you will. What is your personal number for this year? And besides these numerology sessions, what else are you offering, Tia? What offerings are you currently have?
Yeah, so aside from my numerology services, I'm also a psychic medium. I do psychic channelings, and I offer spiritual intuitive messages and readings, as well as mediumship readings. I also am a dream interpreter. So I offer, my services around dream interpretation, or learning around and coaching around how to really pay attention to your dreams, remember your dreams, actually engulf yourself in the dream world, and how you can really interpret your dreams for yourself. So I teach that as well too. And overall, just spiritual coaching. So if you are looking at trying to figure out what your gifts are, how you can implement those gifts in your life, how you can tap into those gifts on a different level, I do provide coaching around that as well too. So again, like a jack of all trades in a sense. I'm also a digital artist, so I do artwork as well too. And a photographer. So yeah, that's kind of about me.
I love all your art, by the way. And yeah, regarding the psychic readings, Tiara also did psychic channeling for my father, who passed away 4 years ago. And I was keep dreaming in. He also did some dream interpretation then. And I felt like, if you feel an intuitive pull to go to her and send her a message or buy one of her sessions, do it, because I've met Tiara exactly when I was going through the episodes with my father. I was also manifesting some physical disease because of the grief I was experiencing for him. So she helped me understand the wounds and the grieving process. And she also channeled my father for me. And I still have goosebumps when I think about that. But this was a deeply healing session where I could feel his energy, and I could, in a way, um, forgive everything, and integrate our relationship. So I feel that our connection is, in a safe space, let's say. And I stopped dreaming, stopped having nightmares after I did our session together. And it can really help you with, if you have a dear one that passed, to help him or her uh, pass on the other side in a safer way, and for you to integrate that relationship on a deeper level. So go and send her a message of either for the numerology, either for the psychic reading, either for the dreams, if you have nightmares, as I used to have. and you will receive so much value from her. And also, if you want to get into the 21-day challenge for the conscious creator, I'm going to leave the link for that below. We start on in a few days, but you can join, like, we start on January 1st, but you can join whenever, like even after the 7th of January, the 11th of January, because all the practices will be recorded, and we will do a vision board together. We will set up the intention for 2023. We'll talk about the energetics. We will do hypnosis, meditations, and a lot of beautiful stuff together. So I know this is the longest podcast I ever done, but I also had the most fun ever, because that's the beauty of meeting a friend, and also high spiritual mentor, and you have a lot of things to talk about. So thank you for listening to us, thank you for watching us, and if you had some golden nugget, or you have some insight that you received from our talk today, or you already feel the 2023 energies, leave a comment below and share with us your unique experience. Thank you, Teaira, for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I hope this was very helpful for everyone listening and watching. I appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to seeing what 2023 has in store for everybody.
Me as well. Thank you again. And I see you in the next episode. Bye.